I quit my 150K software engineering job in California, and now I'm living with my parents. I know that sounds crazy, but let me explain, because what I'm about to talk about might convince you to do the same thing. So why I left my 150K software engineering job in San Diego, California. I really wanted to move to San Diego. That was a deep calling for me. I wanted to be able to surf, be in a walkable town, go through the nightlife. And I was doing all these things and just really building myself up. And it was causing me to just become a different person from who I used to be. I used to be super quiet. I had social anxiety, and engineering was just the right path because I was good at math and science. And this new person, I didn't fit into the isolation of being a software engineer, and I was plateauing at my job. My manager is the smartest guy I have ever met, but very difficult to work for. It felt like I was being put in this box. I couldn't get promoted to the next level because mentally I couldn't process like they do. Socially, like, I'm very good. I have very good emotional intelligence. I was also considering, like, what if I'm going down the wrong path here? What if I was never meant to do software engineering? Because right now I'm becoming way more social than I used to be. Around this time, I got heavily involved in self-development because I was frustrated with my dating life. And eventually, once I conquered that, now I want to fix my business life. I'm a software engineer, so I wanted to try creating a SaaS product. And I started working on a surf forecast tool to predict surfing conditions when you're at the beach. I was enjoying that. It was pretty fun. I was pushing close to 20 hours on this a week, and all that time by myself working on the computer, I was not getting to talk to people. And every day after I would finish working on my SaaS product and then going to work, I would come home and just be dying to talk to people. So I go to the gym and I was making it a goal to talk to 2 new people at my gym every single day. And I was learning everyone's names, and that was so energizing. I would always look forward to going to the gym so I could talk to people. So I realized maybe it would be better for me to get a sales job. This is talking about the men's networking group that I joined, run by the YouTuber How to Beast. It was life-changing for me. Everyone in this group, a lot of them were still doing full-time jobs, but they were also doing their own side hustles. Getting to talk with these guys, I always saw people who had those big, successful side hustles. I was always intimidated by those people because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I wasn't smart enough to do that. But when I was at this event, I got to meet all these people. And when I was gonna meet David, I'd always seen his videos, but when I finally met him in person, he was just like a normal guy, just down to earth, and he just wasn't what I thought he would be. I always thought that these intelligent people that I'm working with at my software job, they're so smart, and I'm thinking, if they can't do their own business, they must not be smart enough. And if they can't do it, there's definitely no way I can do it. But meeting all these guys at Beast Nation, they were not geniuses. They weren't experts. They were just very emotionally driven. They had this dream that they wanted to do, and they knew that it didn't matter how smart they were gonna put in the hours, the consistency, and they had the courage to make it work. You just have to believe in yourself. At this point, I didn't care how much money I was making. All I knew is I had this deep feeling inside of me telling me that I need to quit and I need to chase growth, because I'm gonna just grow exponentially from this and probably make way more money than I'm currently making anyways. And it's gonna be fun. So that was the biggest thing, was it was going to be energizing for me and exciting, and it felt like a huge adventure for me. It's scary to like go all in on something, but because you're putting your back in the wall, you're throwing yourself off a cliff and having to build back up again. So that was scary, but it was also so exciting for me. And if I didn't at least give this an honest try, I was going to regret this for the rest of my life. So this Beast Nation event, near the end, I met a solar sales coach. He's one of the top solar sales guys in the US. And then I started watching his content, and he would video himself knocking on doors and talking to homeowners. And that just sounded exciting and energizing for me. So I was like, this would be a great opportunity for me to at least try out sales and to get my feet wet in it. Sales is not my dream job, but the thought of learning social skills and business skills sounded very useful for me, because creating your own business. And then I like cold approaching girls and talking to new people. So the thought of doing that on homeowners was exciting. And then just learning more about human psychology. But I felt sick inside because I knew I needed to do it, but I was scared. And I was asking myself, why am I so afraid to leave? I know it's not about the money because I have plenty of savings to hold me over for 2 years. And what I was realizing was the thought of losing my software engineer identity. It was terrifying for me because that's all I've ever known. People would ask me, oh, what do you do? Oh, who are you? Well, I'm a software engineer. I would always take pride in that because it's this prestigious job. And I would be just dropping that. What is my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? People that quit their jobs, they're losers. They're not respected by society. And that was my mindset. And that was just like a humbling experience for me because I was going to have to let go of it and lose my old identity and just rebuild myself up from scratch. I was so embarrassed to have to tell people, hey, I'm quitting my full-time $150K software job to do freaking solar sales door to door. That sounds just stupid. It was literally the day before turning in my notice for my full-time software job. And so I started Googling solar sales, and that's when I found all of the scammy, fake, all this stuff about solar sales and how it's a scam and you actually don't get paid. They're ripping homeowners off. They're all pyramid schemes. I was reading all of these things and I started just panicking because I was so bought into this idea. And then I started to spiral thinking, what if it's all fake? What if it's all a scheme? And after really thinking about it for a bit, I realized that I don't care if this solar sales job is fake, that it's a scam, and it doesn't turn out to be what it's supposed to be, because the entire point of this was to quit my full-time job. That was the pillar of hope for me. Big reason that I wanted to just quit my job and not have anything lined up. I'm always going a million miles a second at my job, in my life. I just wanted to step back and not have anything and just really connect to my inner voice and like what my body and my mind deep down is telling me to do. Because if you spend your entire life always going a million miles a second, you never really take time to stop and think about how you feel about that and if you're actually going in the right direction. You could just wake up a year, 5 years, 10, 20 years down the line, and when you finally look up, you realize you just went in the entire wrong direction for all that time. If you had just stopped for a second and looked, you would have noticed. That was the entire goal of just quitting my job. It wasn't to build a business. It wasn't to make a bunch of money. It was to stop with nothing, listen to my inner voice, and just slowly build that back up, build a life that truly aligned to who I am. I don't know what the future is for me right now, but I just know that what I'm doing right now is exactly where I need to be. I'm just figuring this out as I go, and a year from now, this could look like a stupid decision, or this could completely change my life. Either way, I'm not gonna hide the process. I'm gonna document everything honestly as I go. If you wanna see what happens, then follow along because I'll be posting every day.